And another thing, since we're on the topic of what's missing with Blake Lively? If we are to believe that Justin Baldoni factually sexually harassed or engaged in psychological or emotional manipulation of Blake Lively and then engaged in retaliation and Darvo, what's missing from Blake Lively? Let's start with what we as survivors know for our own existence. When we've been under the power and control of an emotionally and psychologically abusive person, we develop a sense of hypervigilance and we walk on eggshells. At no point do we see Blake worried about what she's going to say or how she's going to say it, or like asking anybody, like, hey, I have this thing that I really think should happen, but I don't know how to say it without pissing off Justin Baldoni. Like, I don't know how to tell this to him. Like, how do I say it? We don't see any of that. Instead, what we see is a lot of entitled behavior towards Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath. And then when her entitled beliefs are not met, she then turns around and calls him a clown, a doofus. Like, she rips on him and demeans him behind his back after coming to him to his face and saying things like, oh, you're safe with me, you know how woke we are. She elicits from him a sense of trust and then weaponizes what he says under that umbrella of trust against him. Now, there's another thing that also happens with the hypervigilance, and that is this sense of avoidance. Like, we become fearful of being alone with our person or having to go see them, having to interact with them. And at no point do we see anything where Blake Lively is like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be with, which some people can say that, you know, the fact that he wasn't allowed to be on the red carpet was an act of avoidance. But the problem there is that it's not from a sense of fear. Blake Lively doesn't say like, oh guys, like I'm really worried. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Like I'm worried if he's there that he'll get pissed off or whatever. It's not from a place of fear or hypervigilance. Rather, when Justin Baldoni isn't allowed to be on the red carpet, it's from a sense of entitlement. And again, in my last post, I talked about how people who are abusive to others, they don't believe that their victims or targets deserve things that they haven't earned or that they feel they don't have a right to. Blake didn't believe that Justin Baldoni or Jamie Heath earned the right to be on the red carpet with them. And in fact, if you didn't know this, if you didn't read the full documents from the beginning of this case, it's not just that they weren't allowed to be on the red carpet for the premiere of their own movie. It's that Blake Lively banned them from the after party that Justin Baldoni and Wayfair had factually paid for and planned. And so Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, and Wayfair had to pay for a second party for them to go celebrate at, simultaneously in a separate location, and the cast wasn't even there for that celebration. So Blake Lively even felt entitled to not include them in the celebration of their own movie. And again, it wasn't from a place of fear. It wasn't like she told people like, oh, I just think that he'll be too upset and too mad and it might get too crazy. It was from the idea that she didn't believe that they deserved to be there. And more than anything, what paints the whole picture even better is that just like in the movie It Ends With Us, what we don't see is the fear, the knowing of the situations that will get us in trouble and being so fearful of those type of moments happening. So we as survivors, we as victims, we know that if we had just given birth to a baby, the last thing that we want to do is wait for the hospital room door to close so we're alone with the person who's factually been abusive of us and let them know, one, I want a divorce, and two, I'm taking the baby, and three, then asking said abuser, well, what would you do if your daughter came home and she told you that her boyfriend had been hitting her? And then that's like the mic drop moment, and you saunter out of the room with your newborn baby. Like, take that. That's not how it happens. Victims and survivors of emotional and psychological abuse know that that is the catalyzing moment that would put us in danger and potentially the danger of losing our life. Even if we were in a hospital room in the place where said person, as a doctor, worked, we would know that we can't say any of those things. We would know that if we said any of those things, that would be the moment that that person escalated into violence and potentially took our life. Blake Lively and Colleen Hoover are factually the most wrong people to have been involved in telling a story like this on behalf of survivors, because they don't know. They don't care, is actually what I should say. They don't care. They never did. And it shows.